نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمد عبده ورسوله وبعد. We begin by praising Allah, and we praise Him, we seek His help and ask His forgiveness, and we seek refuge with Allah from the evil of ourselves and from the evil consequence of our evil actions. Whomsoever Allah guides, there is none to misguide, and whomsoever Allah leaves to go astray, there is none to guide. And I testify that Allah alone is worthy of worship, and that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the servant of Allah and His final messenger. Our brother Osama, I didn't obviously hear everything that he said, but obviously from what I can hear, he has given our brothers and the sisters who can hear a nice introduction to actually some reasons why we should feel enthusiastic about the potential for da'wah here in the West. Some of those reasons being that in many ways the people in the West, it is almost like it is a tree that has become, its fruits have become ripe. And really what we have to do is just reach out and pick those fruits. Because people have actually for the past 400 years been questioning Christianity. And that questioning now has reached a point that there are probably more people who don't believe in Christianity than there are people who do believe in Christianity, certainly in this country. Interestingly enough, you still find they do have some type of belief in God. But really what is also very interesting is that the Renaissance, the age of enlightenment, has brought or has developed within the Western mind a particular way of thinking. And this particular way of thinking is in fact also really beneficial in terms of giving da'wah. That is, of course, if you yourself understand that way of thinking and you can relate to that way of thinking and you can communicate in that way of thinking. And what do I mean? What we find in general, my brothers and sisters, is that what exists in this society is a very rational approach to things. And people tend to look at things in general in a very rational way. And that is how the education system, that is what the age of enlightenment, so as to speak, has prepared. That's the groundwork. And that, my brothers and sisters, is an advantage to us, because Islam is a religion that makes so much sense. It's a religion that can be argued, and its advantages and its principles established through some very sound methods of rational argumentation. Now, there are many ways in giving da'wah, and there are many ways to give da'wah, and there are many types of techniques that we can use. So the opportunities and the avenues are endless. In fact, if there is one rule of giving da'wah, that is that there is no real rule. That in a sense everybody is different. I hope one day we will have the opportunity to do a full one-day da'wah seminar. And I will only do it for a maximum of 30 people. Inshallah, I hope one day we'll be able to do it in the mosque here. But what I'm going to give you today is a little taste of my full one-day da'wah seminar. Now, mashallah, there are lots of shayukh and da'is these days giving da'wah seminars. I haven't been to theirs, but most of them seem to follow a technique of which is very thorough, of, first of all, outlining the principles of Dawah, the minhaj, the methodology of Dawah, and that's very important. I do that in my Dawah seminar as well. But I'm actually sort of trusting that most of you guys should know that. Okay, it doesn't matter, it's good to go over it again, but we don't have time today. But then what they usually have is a program of how to give dawah to an atheist, how to give dawah to a Jew, how to give dawah to a Christian, how to give dawah to a Buddhist, how to give dawah to a Hindu, how to give dawah to, which is fine, it's good. In reality, every person that you talk to and every belief system they have is going to need a slightly different approach. I remember something that happened, which is, I quote it often as a classic example of someone having a particular method which they thought they could apply to everyone, and that was down in Speaker's Corner many years ago. And after one of my talks up on the stand, I got down, and alhamdulillah, there's always a sort of there's a pool of brothers always giving dawah on an individual basis, which is actually probably where most of the good dawah takes place. And there was this one brother there who's obviously schooled in the Ahmadiyyat school of giving dawah, okay, which has its time and place. So there he was talking to this gentleman about all the contradictions in the Bible. Coming is obviously literally almost sort of going through the Ahmadiyyat, is the Bible God's word? And so the gentleman was standing there, nodding his head, smiling. And I was watching this going on for about 20 minutes, the brother. And the brother had obviously been talking to him for quite a while before I was listening. So he was going on and the guy was just nodding his head. And after 20 minutes, the man said, that's very interesting, but I don't believe in the Bible. And I just sort of smiled to myself, because I sort of reckoned, that's why I was watching. Because, the brother, mashallah, was spending 20 minutes to convince him of something that he already knew, or he already didn't believe in. So what was the point of that? And obviously, part of giving dawah is finding out something about that person or those people that you are giving dawah to. So when the Prophet ﷺ sent Mu'ad ibn Jabal to Yemen, he said, "Oh Mu'ad, you're going to the people of the book." He told him, "Look, this is the people you're going to." So he knew something about them. So let the first thing that you call them be is to the oneness of Allah. This, of course, is essentially the minhaj of our dawah. It is very important, actually. Our dawah is to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone and to abandon the worship of the false gods. It is not to helping our brothers in Palestine or Chechnya or getting people out of prison, although I'm not saying these are not worthy causes. I'm not saying they're not worthy causes, of course they are. But our dawah, the call of the Muslim, is not to that. In fact, it seems to me in something a bit sad how we have to beg and scrape and appeal to the kuffar in order to get our needs met. That's the sadness of our situation today. But it reminds me a little bit about the Jews. Their dawah is basically making everybody feel really sorry for them because Hitler killed 6 million, and so we can get away with doing what we like because you should feel sorry for us. And that type of approach, oh look at us poor Muslims, we're being oppressed everywhere, I don't really feel comfortable with that. And certainly I don't think this is dawah. This may be helping our Muslim brothers and sisters, it may be part of our struggle to help our Muslim brothers and sisters who are in a poor situation. We have to do that. But let's not confuse it with something else. The call to Allah is a call to Allah. The call to get people to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to abandon the worship of the false gods, and to follow the sunnah of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So we're not calling them also to a culture. There's a famous story I heard when I first became Muslim about someone who was an Englishman who was so enthusiastic about becoming Muslim. He really liked it. And everything he saw, and everything he heard about Islam was really making him excited. So he asked some of these brothers, they're from Tabligh, Jama'ah. He said to them, I really want to become Muslim. He said, but I've just got one question, one thing that worries me is, do I have to eat curry the whole time? And, because for him, He actually imagined that that was really part of the religion. And that's what happens, of course. Many of us, we put forward as religion our culture. We have certain cultural practices and cultural habits. So often we find we're calling people to become Saudis. That's a wide thing amongst some brothers. You know, they have a sort of Saudi Islam. And again, because they connect what is in Saudi Arabia with a pure form of the deen, but it's not necessarily everything that comes from that is therefore Islam. Actually, many of the things are Saudi culture. Women not driving. The prohibition on women driving is something specific to do with Saudi culture. It's not necessarily from the deen. Yes, it's a fatwa, but based upon those people's circumstances in that place. But now brothers come along with this and they think the woman should stay in the house and she should never come out and never show her face. And they say that the good woman is the one she's seen twice. Once when she gets married and the next time when she's buried. But this is not only Saudi, this is not Saudi culture, this is maybe some Bedouin tribe culture. And then they want to push this as Islam. This is a confusion. So this happens with many Muslims. They have a culture, or the idea of Islam they have is something mixed with culture, and they end up calling to this. Of course, for many people this can be shocking or off-putting. And this is dangerous because you're not frightening people away from Islam. Yes, you could say, my job is to tell the haqq. My job is not to make them pleased with Islam. Wallah, that's true. Allah didn't ask you to make them pleased with a religion by changing it. That's true. And that's another extreme. Some other people go to the extreme of changing the deen because we want to make it more pleasing to people in the West. This is another big mistake. Actually, I believe that will always ultimately end up in something very sad. When people, and this has happened, when people actually come to find out that the things they were told about Islam were lies, that they said, no, this is not from Islam, and they found out that it really was. I've heard of people who've become murtad from that. Because they were given the wrong information in the first place. So this is also another extreme. So we have to really make our call to Allah. This is it. And it's very simple. When you're giving dawah, in general, when you're giving dawah to the kuffar, in general, the things you need to talk about to them are very limited. And I have an approach which I believe, it's not, I use it as a universal approach, but I forewarn you about, that brother who had the Ahmadiyyat style, right? And where he ended up. But I have what I call, it's a methodological approach. It follows a system. It's very easy. It's very simple. It doesn't get us involved in so many different complicated things and issues. It's a simple way to give dawah. And I believe there is a type of rational and logical, I wouldn't say infallibility to it, because that's a bit high, infallibility. But, it's what I believe it's an extremely strong and powerful method of giving dawah. And it may not seem to work, it sort of does rely also on something I am a great believer in. I am a great believer in sowing seeds. I think dawah is a lot to do with sowing the seeds. We don't necessarily, or we shouldn't necessarily be thinking about results right in front of us. There are some da'is, this is their technique. Myself personally, I don't feel very comfortable with it. They will sit with a group of people like this and give them a very inspiring talk. And using certain psychological techniques, they will get people to take shahada. But I know from people who have gone to some of these meetings that afterwards when their friends asked them, so, you're Muslim now. They said, really? What? They didn't even know what had happened. They took shahada, but they had no idea what had happened. You can do that. Actually, if you bombard people with a lot of information, confusing information, and then you tell them to do something, you might have seen this guy on the TV who does these amazing psychological things. I don't watch the TV, but I've seen one or two of these programs. I can't remember. No, it's someone else. Anyway, he does these weird things, and this is one thing he did. He talks to someone on the phone and says, "Go to sleep," and that person falls asleep in the phone box. And he explained how he did it. He bombards them with lots of confusing information, and the mind can't take it. So when you tell them one simple thing to do, they do it. You can do that. That's how I can get people to take Shahada. Bombard them. Listen, all you need to do is say this. And they'll say it. But what have they actually done? They don't know. Now that's not really Dawah. You know, what we need to do is get people to understand and to think. And that can take time. It's like you plant a seed and it goes in the soil. Now sometimes it may grow very quickly and very fast. Sometimes it may lay dormant for 30 years in the desert in Saudi. You know, when it rains and you find the desert becomes green. How? Because there have been seeds waiting in the sand and they wait there. 30, 40 years it doesn't rain. But when it rains they come to life. And it's like with Dawah. Plant the seeds. You don't know when that seed, maybe it will never grow. But you don't know when the time is ripe and that seed. But you're planting the seed. That's what you have to look at it. And if you do that as well, then you don't need to get into useless arguments with people. You're shouting and you're getting frustrated because why? If you feel you have to convince them on the spot, and I can't let them go until they've agreed with everything that I say. And what comes into play here a lot of the time anyway is ego. It's nafs. I don't want to lose the argument. It's not anymore about giving dawah to Allah. It's about, I'm arguing with this person and I don't want to lose the argument because I'll look bad. But believe me, from my experience, sometimes the most convincing thing is people's good manners and their reluctance to argue. That's something I remember being very impressed with. Years ago, this was within Islam, but it was still a type of dawah. And I remember that I used to argue certain things about the Shia, and some of the brothers were extremely frustrated with me. So they took me, I'm going to Raheem, come and meet this sheikh from Saudi, right? So we sat down and we had dinner, and the brothers were going, "Sheikh, tell him, sheikh, tell him," right? And so the sheikh started trying to argue, and I was just like firing, like that. And the sheikh just realized that, forget this guy. I'm not going to get anywhere with it. And so he said to the brother, just leave it. Let's just enjoy our dinner. Doesn't matter. No. And you know what? That impressed me so much. It impressed me more than anything he could have said to me. The fact that, because Allah says about the believers, they don't argue. So now I recognize there's a quality that Allah described. They don't get into useless arguments. And this is a principle. In fact, this is something of the manners of dawah. Don't get yourself involved in useless argumentation. I don't say that it's always the case with me. Certainly not. And sometimes my nafs, quite often it gets the better of me and you get heated, especially sort of in speaker's corner scenario when you're shouting already. And then on top of that someone's arguing with you. It's really difficult to rein yourself in. But in general, I can sometimes speak to someone for a few minutes and I can realize I'm just, there's no point going on with this person. Because this guy's mind is set. So I just say, and that's a technique I used actually quite often. I just said to the person, peace. Listen, no, we don't want to argue, peace. And even everyone goes around, why are you arguing with me? He doesn't want to argue with you. And actually you can see that people are like, oh, look at that. Just leave it. So there are many ways to give dawah. Of course, the dawah through character, through example. But it's not what I really want to concentrate on today. What I would like to go through, first of all, and this is a super compressed version of my one-day seminar, okay? And that's why I've asked for the blackboard here. So I hope the brothers' camera work is going to be good to follow me around. I hope this thing can stretch. What I want to do is go through some of the most difficult and uncomfortable, what I call uncomfortable questions. Right? What are the worst questions you have ever been asked when you're giving dawah? People come up to you and say, oh yeah, you Muslims this and you Muslims that, and you know, and you get this dreaded question like, you know, how about this and how about that? And so what I'd like to do is write down some of these questions, all right? Give me some of these questions. Normally what we do is break it up into workshops. We don't have time for that. So I'm going to write down some of these questions, and then we're going to see, you know, how well we can answer them.
You want to free yourself from the mic, so I'll get back closer, because you need to be near that.
Okay. All being tied down. Oh, this is...
It's just come here if you want.
Okay. Where's this? Okay, so... Sure. Okay. Actually, I tell you what, how's your writing and spelling? Because my spelling's atrocious. So I can stay right here. You're a doctor, doesn't mean anything. Shipman was a doctor. There you go. Go on, bro, here. You can't. Okay. So the brother is going to write down for us. Okay. First, come on, just hands up, and we'll go through some uncomfortable questions. Yeah? Go on, brother, yeah.
Where is God?
Where is God? That's an uncomfortable question? You find it hard to... The kuffar ask you questions like that?
Where is Allah?
Where is Allah? Okay. Okay, next one. Yeah.
Did Muhammad raid caravans?
Oh. Did Muhammad raid caravans? Whoa. Okay. Faddal, ya.
Where is God when you have natural disasters like we had in...
Okay, the question of evil, bro. How can there be a God? Yeah, when there's so many evil things going on in the world. Yeah, that's a you know. How can there be a God when there's so much evil, like natural disasters and AIDS and babies dying? And that's a very good question. Excellent. Bro, you can like shorten it a bit, you know, we'll all understand what it is. Yeah, faddal at the back, Yahi.
All religions lead to the same thing.
Okay, this is very interesting. I have to do a proper seminar with you guys, because this is really interesting.
But another one.
All religions, yeah. Don't all religions lead to the same thing? You know, put it as a question. Yeah.
And just relate to that.
Yeah.
Religions are the cause of all evil today.
Yeah, religions are the cause of so many problems, so many wars, so many bad things. Bro, you're going to fit a lot of questions, and you're going to squeeze stuff up, you know. Cause of problems. Problem. Okay. Religion is the cause of any more questions? Yeah, Yahi.
Why do you want to kill us?
What? Allahu Akbar. Why do you want to kill us? Because you is ugly. Come on, what's another question? Yeah.
Your Prophet married somebody of underage.
Okay, how come the Prophet Muhammad married a 6-year-old? Now, what they say isn't that paedophilia? That's what they say, right? So that's what the question they ask. So, Prophet's marriage to Aisha. Okay. More questions? Yes, Yahi.
What is worship?
What is worship? Okay. Well, we're talking about questions when you're giving dawah to kuffar, the sort of stuff they come up with. Not questions you want answered, but I mean, if someone asks you that, alhamdulillah, what is worship? Try and put it in categories, maybe, you know, if you can.
Why do you worship Muhammad?
Why do you worship Muhammad?
That's what they
Okay. Okay. This is very interesting. You must be giving dawah to some people I never met before, right? Okay, go on.
If everything has a creator, who created God?
Oh, that's a very good one. We put that with where is Allah? If everything has a creator, who created Allah? Yeah, go on.
How could God create people that are destined into hell?
Okay, that's a good question. Why does God create people for hell, or who are destined to go to hell? Be sure these are not like questions you've got yourself in your own minds. Yeah.
Why do we fast? Why do you fast?
Why do you fast? Okay. It's the Muslim diet plan. Yeah.
Bang.
Huh?
Big Bang.
The what?
Big Bang.
The Big Bang Theory. What about it? They ask you about the Big Bang Theory. Huh? Okay, we could do that with God's existence maybe and stuff like that, yeah? Go on, bro. How about the young brother there?
Is it a skirt that you wear or a dress?
Is it a skirt that you wear or a dress?
Allah Akbar.
That's it. You don't see me in it, you see. Don't get asked that question anymore. Are you going on pilgrimage? Someone asked me once. Are you a Hare Krishna? Okay. Are you Jesus? Yeah.
Right here.
Sorry?
Heaven and earth
Yeah.
is here.
Heaven and hell is here on earth. Okay.
How do you know you're not wasting your time in religion?
That's a good question.
Running out of space.
That's a very good question. We could give a talk on that, couldn't we, really? We could turn that into some good ideas here. I really actually, yeah. Usually I have a sheet where I can write all these down and I take them home with me. So I have a collection of them. Yeah.
Questions about 9/11 would ask you quite,
9/11, terrorism, yeah. Terrorism, 9/11, call it terrorism, 9/11. Isn't that weird though? 911, you know that's the emergency number. And I can't believe that's coincidence. I just can't, yeah.
Why do Muslims go after us?
Huh?
Why do Muslims go after us?
Yeah, why do you want to kill us, yeah? Okay, it sort of comes under why do you want to kill us type thing, yeah? Faddal, yeah, go on.
why did God create Satan to bring you away from him?
Okay, that sort of comes under why is there evil in the world and stuff like that, right? So, yeah.
Why we are Muslim and why Muslims grow beard?
Why do Muslims grow beards?
Can I put that with the dress?
Yeah, Muslim dress, beards, hijab. Sisters, you might want to write some questions that people ask you.
And
Yeah,
pass it through the door.
and pass it through the door. We'd be interested, very much interested, to hear the sort of questions you get asked when you're giving dawah.
Why
Yeah.
do you worship Muhammad? Did you work?
Yeah, go on.
Does Islam call for physical and cultural world domination?
Okay. World domination. Well, you could put under that, why do you want to kill us? Domination. Does it call for it?
Especially related to like the Muslim culture.
Yeah. Islamic imperialism, huh? Okay. Any more questions? Yeah.
Not relevant to modern times.
Okay. How can a religion 1,400 years old make any sense today? What's it got to do with today's society? That's very common. Yeah.
Why sacred killing?
Sorry?
Why sacred killing?
Okay, jihad, yeah? Jihad, yeah. Why do you have jihad?
Another one is that you oppress your women.
Yeah, you oppress your women. Put that somewhere, bro. Yeah.
Why do Muslims hate non-Muslims? Why is there so much hatred?
Okay, we could put that under kill. Put dash hatred, dominate. Yeah. Any more questions? Yeah, bro. Yeah.
If Allah was here for all this long year, why did He create us early?
Why didn't Allah create us earlier? Okay, that's interesting. I've been asked the most incredible questions by 7-year-olds in the mosque and speakers in Regent's Park. I just couldn't believe some of the questions. Yeah, go on.
You're just all brainwashed.
You're just all brainwashed. Yes, that's interesting. That's something that is something that's come up with. Okay. Okay, last few. Let's take a few more because we could keep us going for quite a long time with these. Yeah.
If God exists and He's so merciful,
Yeah.
why is there so much suffering?
Sort of similar, isn't it? Why is there evil in the world? It's exactly the same question, really. Yeah. Of course, it's based on if there's a good God, why does this good God let so much suffering take place.
So
Okay.
Muslim worship is black stone.
Huh?
The Muslim, they worship.
Muslims worship the black stone. Great. Yeah, I actually need some water to get it off my trousers, bro.
There's a wet wipe there.
Where? Ah, thanks, bro. I'd like us to divide ourselves up into a few groups. So let's say, well, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, 15 brothers. Can you move together in a little circle, please? Yeah? And 15 brothers here. No, don't go far, just sit around here. Yeah? And another group of brothers, you guys come over. Come on. And you guys supporting the wall. I don't know why you think the wall, I think it's well built, the wall actually. It doesn't need supporting. You know. And come on, form a group. Come on, guys. You're going to have to talk to each other. So
You both can form over there.
that's it. Now, I'm going to give you a few minutes, right? I'm going to give you a few minutes to think about the answers to these questions. Think about how you can answer these questions. Yeah? So look at them. And mashallah, the ones of you, like 3 or 4 of you came with a pen and paper. Mashallah. As for the rest, you're going to have to remember. So think about it, discuss it. So you need to appoint someone who's going to lead the discussion. Right? Have an amir. And go on, brothers. Go on. And think of the answers. Fadal, you're not going to benefit sitting all the way over there outside the group. Because you know what? When you're giving dawah, you do actually have to talk to people. So come on, guys. You're standing like, we were sitting like blank expressions on your faces. We're not going to give it too long. You got 5 minutes. So I tell you what, make it easier. This group over here, you're going to take like these questions. Yeah. This group here, you can take these questions. That group over there, you can take like those questions, and that group over it, you can take the last questions. Yeah. Okay. There we go. Okay. Have you got that? Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 1, 2, 3 over there, 4 over there. Yeah? Sisters, I'm sorry getting left out here a bit. But if you can think of some answers to the questions, please write them down. We're just going to give everyone about 5 minutes to deal with this. And why don't we adopt Western culture now that we're living in this country? So those are some questions from the sisters. And I'd like the sisters to try and answer those questions. Brother, the answer please. I'm going to have to choose you. Okay, let's listen now. Yeah? Faddal. How can there be a God when there's so much evil in the world?
Well, before the tsunami disaster,
Yeah.
Mainly Christians, they used to believe that God, God loves the human being, all the creation, etc., etc.
Right.
After the disaster, their faith became, they were in doubt of their faith, of their belief, because they were thinking, if God loves all the creation, how can God at the same time destroy it, with such a calamity? Whereas in Islam we can say our God not only loves them, Allah has other attributes, and as we all know, the 99 names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Okay.
So not only love, anger, and etc., etc. So maybe we can put that forward.
That's a good argument, but I'm going to counter with what one might say to you. Okay, they will say, listen, isn't it a lot easier than pretending to believe that there's some God, who has some benevolent God? Because you believe God is benevolent and God is good and God is merciful. Every chapter of the Quran says Bismillahir Rahmanir Raheem, right? So isn't it just a lot easier to believe that these are natural disasters, they're just products of chance and coincidence, that life is just a series of random events, there's no God, there's no creator, there was a big bang, the universe came into existence, these things just happen. If there was this good God that you're talking about, then surely God would do something about it. But surely this whole way the world is just shows us that there can't be a God. There's just chaos, just happens, and that's just the way it is. As they say, life's a bitch and then you die. That's what they say. Excuse me if it's not right to say that in the mosque. So this is what their attitude is. So what's your reply?
Who created heaven?
Just Big Bang. Just the Big Bang, right? Just, everyone knows it's a product of random events and chance and coincidence.
Yeah, it's probably because we don't.
Hands up if you want to answer. Yeah? Don't just talk. Hands up if you can answer it. Yeah? The proof is science. It's called redshift. Yeah? A guy called Hubble, he built a telescope and he observed that in the universe there was a background radiation, which is what accurately they expected to happen after the Big Bang, and that's what they discovered. So now it's almost considered to be that it's a fact that there was this Big Bang. So that's how we know.
His discovery actually confirmed what the Quran says about the expansion of the universe.
Right.
Because he discovered that the universe is expanding. So Allah says there's a verse in the Quran that we...
But why should we, maybe then Muhammad must have written the Quran.
Yeah, but this is discovery.
But maybe it's just some, he just, it could mean lots of different things, surely.
No argument.
Huh?
Peace.
No,
It is our peace.
Okay.
The Quran.
The Quran is our proof
For everything.
for everything. So why should someone believe in our Quran? What test? We have the Bible. Why shouldn't we believe in the Bible or the Bhagavad Gita or Buddha's teachings? Or in fact, why not just be a communist? Follow the Communist Manifesto. I mean, everyone goes around claiming their religion is true. Why have we got a better claim to that than anyone else?
You will find the truth in one and falsehood in the other.
But I found that someone may find the truth in the Bible. That's what they will claim. George Bush claims it. All the born-again Christians claim it's the Word of God. Here's the truth. So why shouldn't we believe in the Bible? Why should we believe in the Quran or lots of any other book? Huh? No, I mean, by the way, not what you're saying is bad. Yeah, but sometimes you're going to have to keep going because that's what people are going to say. So yeah, go on.
So if anybody can come up with any proof, but you have to be able to substantiate that proof.
Okay.
And the Quran comes with this challenge that if you think
Yeah.
this is not the word of God, then
Right.
try to disprove it otherwise.
Or produce the verse.
Or produce
The Quran challenges.
Okay. Okay.
The challenge still remains.
Yeah, it's very difficult to do that.
Still remains.
Huh?
If not the whole Quran, if not.
Okay, what's this challenge of the Quran that you're talking about?
Verse.
What's this challenge of the
It
Quran?
says produce a verse. That's far as
Based upon what?
Okay, but produce a verse. Okay, so yeah, produce a surah. Okay, tomorrow creeps on at this petty pace from day to day. Out, brief candle. Life is just a passing shadow, and we are merely players strutting our parts. Like, just read a few bits of Shakespeare. That's pretty powerful to me. I think I can compare that with your Quran. Huh? So what does it mean, this challenge? Produce a surah like it. Huh? You're right. What you're saying is absolutely right. But if I come with another argument, now you're stuck.
I think that the conclusion here is that in the end it's up to you. If you don't, if it doesn't make.
So really, there's no real reason why I should believe in Islam. I might as well just follow my religion. You've got no convincing thing to give me that I should follow your religion.
it's a package, and I mean you have to be able to.
It's a package. So your package includes shutting your women away, chopping the hands off people, stoning them to death, killing people who decide that they don't like your package, by the way. If I decide I like your package, but now I decide I don't like it, you're going to kill me. Yeah? That's a nice package. Yeah?
Those are all individual things that need to be
Yeah.
You're obviously coming to something, so come on.
Huh?
Cough up.
I think
No, guys, come on. What's okay?
Trouble understanding evil thing.
The evil.
Yeah, what is the cause of evil? What?
Well, I'm asking you. That's your group's job is to answer that question. Actually, the brother really, mashallah, he answered it very well. He really did answer it really well. Alhamdulillah. He said, well, actually, he went back to the fact that the problem of evil is rather a Christian problem because they define God exclusively as being good. Whereas in Islam, we understand that God has other attributes. Yeah. So it's a good beginning to answer the question. Yeah?
but I would like to refer back to the Big Bang.
Yeah, the Big Bang.
Basically,
Yeah.
what is, they do, non-Muslim, they do raise that question that
Yeah.
everything started from Big Bang.
Yeah.
And I agree with them. I'll say
Right.
it's basically Big Bang is an explosion.
Right.
I'll say to them, one example, I say if we were to have a bomb in this plate, not one,
Yeah.
any plate,
Sure.
and what's the after effect? Everything
Okay.
disintegrate, everything
Okay.
is chaos, isn't it? That's
Okay.
the attribute of a bomb, isn't it?
Yep.
So if the universe started from Big Bang, which is an explosion, surely there is a creator behind it, because the reason being, because everything came into existence and everything synchronized. So behind the explosion was the will of Allah. That's why everything came in its exact places.
That's good. Excellent. Okay, how about some other questions? Terrorism. Let me see. How about the Prophet Muhammad's marriage to Aisha? Who's group 3? Group 3? Don't even know what group you are. Okay. Group 3. Answer the question, please.
That was on the border of 3 and 4, so it isn't really clear.
Huh? Where is it?
Just next to 4.
We didn't get
Okay, no, 4 starts here. I wrote the number, but 4 starts here.
Okay.
Okay.
So who dealt with that one anyway?
Okay. Yeah, dodgy, isn't it? You're trying to get it out. Okay, then group number 4. Why do men wear beards, and why do women have to cover their hair, and what's all this dress code that you've got in your religion?
Obviously, we're trying to imitate the Prophet.
Right.
Any human being needs to imitate somebody, whether you want to imitate Beckham or any other model.
Okay.
But obviously, we have a set guidelines. We want to imitate the Prophet.
But why would you want to imitate someone who lived 1,400 years ago? Who lived in the desert? This is England. In it, mate. This is like Blighty here, mate. What you want to imitate someone who lived in the desert 1,400 years ago?
We believe he's the Prophet of Allah.
Okay. But how do you know that? Through the Quran and mashallah. Oh dear. Come on guys, look, this is Abdur Raheem standing here. I mean, it's not like I'm a kafir. Really, actually, you're trying to give dawah. You can talk to me here. Yeah, go on, faddal ya.
we dress in that way because we're instructed to by our book and by our prophet, which we believe comes from God.
Okay.
And that's why we do it.
That's a very good answer.
See, the beard is a masculinity thing. It's just straight masculinity. It's a sign of you being a man and that you're not a woman. And this is differentiating you between the male and the female. And the order about the religious part is the trimming of the moustache. And keeping the moustache short and not being overhanging lip. But the actual beard in itself, you're just identifying yourself as being a man and being masculine. The same way a lion has got a mane and Billy Goat has got his little bit going on. And all the other animals.
Yeah, but maybe we should differentiate ourselves from the animals, right? Because they can't shave and we can. So maybe it's
No, it's your
maybe I could just put
natural appearance.
Isn't there another way we could?
And plus, you're not making Gillette richer.
Gillette richer. Excellent. Okay. And who do we have? We've asked you a question, haven't we? Group number 1. We didn't ask group number 1 a question.
missed out 3 of the terrorism people.
No, did I miss out group number 1?
Yes.
So I want to find something. They got all. Oh yeah, did Muhammad raid caravans? Now I've read in the life of Prophet Muhammad that he used to raid caravans and attack them and stuff like that. Yeah.
Kind of ran out of time on that one.
Huh? So what's the answer, brothers?
Just to that question, we just have the other.
time on that one.
Ask us any of the other ones that we find.
Okay. What is worship then?
We said that it was any good action that pleases Allah.
Any good action that. But why would you want to worship a God that some people would question whether God even exists or not? I mean, at the end of the day, we go back to that problem. There's so many bad things in the world. Isn't it just more? Doesn't it make more sense to believe that it's just a random event and all these bad things that are happening? There's just nature. It's just the way things are. Life's just tough, and then you die. That's it. You know, why believe in a God? Does it really make sense?
Yes, it does.
Why?
Because it appeals to the soul.
The soul?
Yeah.
What's this soul that you're talking about? I've got a brain and I've got a body, and I'm in the grave, and then the worms eat me and I'm dead. I don't feel it. That's the end of it. Life ends. What is the soul that you're talking about?
Is that for question number 1, yeah?
Huh?
Question number 1, obviously, yeah?
Yeah.
What is worship, right?
Yeah.
So obviously, you wake up every morning, yeah?
I do, yeah. No, sometimes I don't. When I've been out at the pub all night and this and that, don't get up till like the evening. Yeah, but go on.
With the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, yeah?
Yeah, okay.
The sun, the moon, or whatever, they have their time of coming out.
Okay.
The trees blossom, whatever you want to do.
Right,
That
okay.
is their form of worship because Allah has created them with that.
Yeah, but we go back that why should we believe in this Allah or God or Jehovah or anything? Why isn't it just a big bang and chance and coincidence?
No, we're not talking about Allah, we're talking about what is worship.
Yeah, but if you don't believe in God, then you don't worship God. It's better for me to worship Beckham and go down to the pub. Just have some fun in my life. You guys, all that 5 times praying and that fasting Ramadan and that Hajj to Mecca and like you can't go out with the girls and what would you do that to yourself for? Hey, you got a short little life, have fun.
So you worship girls?
Well, yeah. Yeah, amongst other things. Yeah. At least they're here and now, man. What are you asking me to believe in what? Some paradise and I'm going to marry some Hur al-Ain, you know, I mean if they exist, I'd like to go there, but give me a reason. If someone comes and asks me and knocks on my door and says I've got a pension scheme, invest 20 quid a week, you know, there's going to be someone going to check out that these people are real. I don't want to waste my money. Well, I don't want to waste my life on something that's just, you know.
You only believe in what you can see. And for instance,
no, I can't see the air. I believe the air's there. But.
Exactly. Do you believe in something you get short return? You know, the returns on.
Yeah.
Like as a Muslim, we believe that's where the belief.
Mark, you can believe what you like. I've got no problem with you believing what you like, as long as you don't give me a hard time. But on the other hand, yeah, looking at your religion, yeah, September the 11th, 9/11, terrorism, suicide bombing. You guys want to conquer the whole world and make it all become Muslim?
You've been brainwashed.
No. I've been brainwashed. Huh? Well, how about that saying I read in like a book of hadith that I've been ordered to fight the people until they testify that there is nothing worthy of worship except Allah and that Muhammad is their messenger.
You can't understand that until you know Islam properly.
But Osama bin Laden obviously understands it quite well, right?
Who's Osama?
Huh? Okay, guys. How about not doing very well here? Okay. Group number. Who didn't we ask some questions yet?
4.
Yeah, number 4. Group number. No, we did. Do we ask you guys a question? What did I ask you?
You need to ask them a question.
I need to ask them a question. Yeah. Well, I'm asking you, even if you haven't thought about it, explain to me about the Prophet Muhammad marrying Aisha at 9 years old. Explain to me. If you brothers want to ask a question, if you want to answer or something, you can just say, no problem. Yeah, go on. Even if you haven't thought about it, I'd like an answer, please. Yeah, go on.
you have to be believing in the revelation to see which one is on the right. And that's the case.
Right.
So that in itself, if you don't believe in the revelation, then really it's going to be difficult. For us ourselves, we're confident because we can see the fruits of this relationship. We can see, for example, that Aisha's full price related hadith.
Right.
The hadith that the Prophet started living in his house, living in his home, in his family and such, only recorded through Aisha. Right?
Yeah, but still 6 years old.
But at the end of the day, this is the age. I mean, if you send the child to school, you don't send the child to school at 20. Because at 20 years old, that person...
Yeah, but you don't get them married though. There's marriage and school are two different things.
But she was to live in the Prophet's house. Yeah, firstly, as I said, it's a divine instruction.
Right.
It's 9 years old. It's not
No, they consummated the marriage at 9. They were married at 6. They're married at 6. And the marriage will fulfill properly at 9. Yeah.
If somebody asks that, they say, well, why is it wrong? Why is it wrong?
That's actually very good. That's very good. Why is it wrong? Well, I mean, it may seem obvious that it's wrong. I mean, that's a child. I mean, how can we think that a child could be ready for marriage at 9 years old?
Well, they get pregnant at 10.
Huh?
They get pregnant at 10 in the UK.
At 10? Good point. Yeah.
We're talking about an era where the culture and the customs are completely different to how they are now. So now, in this society, getting married to an underage girl will be completely unacceptable. The customs, all the cultural things which were accepted in that era are completely different. So you can't compare that society to our society when it comes to specifics like that.
That's good. Some good answers there. Okay, brothers, I think we'll leave it there, inshallah. Okay. Well, I was actually trying to get at something, through these questioning, ask you questions. I was trying to get at something very important. And what I was really trying to get at, my brothers, is I was laying the ground to show why I believe that the approach that I use is such a beneficial one. Because what it does is it cuts out all of these questions. What if we had one answer to all of these questions? How would that be? And we find that the brothers, some of the brothers, mashallah, were very close to the concept of what I believe is the best way to deal with this. And it's not with every question. And certainly I agree that in some respects people like to have explanations for things. But ultimately, the best answer that anyone gave really is because we believe this because that's what the Quran says. We believe the Quran is from God, the creator of the heavens and the earth. And this is what Sheikh Muhammad Ismail from Egypt, he said to me many years ago when he came to see me down in Speaker's Corner. He said, brother, I'll give you one piece of advice. When people ask you about women in Islam, and they ask you about chopping the hands off thieves, and they ask you about so many things, even the issue of qadr, we didn't talk about that. When they ask you about these things, don't get involved in answering all of their questions. Because you know how it goes? It will go like this. Explain to me the position of women in Islam. So explain to them the position of women in Islam. Yeah? Why can a man have more than one wife? And explain to them the wisdom behind a man having more than one wife. You know, the usual things that we say. Okay? Why did the Prophet, was he allowed to marry? Why this? Why that? Why you chop off the hands of thieves? Why? And after you've gone through 100 whys, they come back to where they started. Well, I'm not convinced about that bit about women in Islam. Tell me about that again. Yeah? I mean, it just goes on and on. He said, brother, but think of it from this way. If Allah tells you, jump off the highest building in your city on your 30th birthday, or go to hell forever. You got a simple choice. You do what Allah says, or you go to hell forever. Yes? Meaning, once we know something is from Allah, then all we have to do after that, in reality, is obey the command of Allah. And that's not something strange, by the way. Every Jew and Christian who knows a little bit about their religion knows a story that we know as well. The story of Ibrahim alayhi salam, who was told to kill his son by God. Yes? Now, can we give a rational explanation for that? Is there any way we can? The only way ultimately we can justify it is that that's the command of Allah. The life belongs to Him, I belong to Him. My duty is to obey God. Now then comes the really important question. And you can tell the intelligence of someone when they ask it. How do we know that your religion is from God? Now to that is the answer that we need to provide. In fact, that's the direction we need to take our dawah. Instead of answering all these individual questions, I often put it forward myself. I say, listen, we could sit here and talk all night and all day about whether this is good or whether this is not good, whether we should do like this or do like that. As the brother mentioned, these are your customs, those are someone else's customs. In this part of the world you do something, and in another part of the world they do something else. And we could argue all day and all night about the virtue, the various merits, the virtues and the vices of any particular idea that any one of us happens to have about how we think things should be. But what does that solve? We don't really get anywhere. The real question is this: is there a God? If there is a God, has He revealed something to us? Did He give us guidance? And how can we know that that guidance is from God? You see, again, let me tell you something about this argument about evil, which the brother, mashallah, he did get the right idea. This issue of the existence of evil in the world, the tsunamis and AIDS and suffering, actually is not an argument about whether God exists or not. It's very important to understand. It sounds, you see, the way I put it, because I know the arguments, I'm used to hearing them time after time, so I've put it to you to see how you're going to react to it. But in reality, you have to know that when the atheists start saying what I said, how do you know there's a God, there's so much suffering, isn't it just easier to believe, blah blah blah, this and that it's a coincidence, it's just nature. Actually, we have to understand that the existence of these things doesn't actually tell us anything about whether God exists or not. And when the atheists use this argument, it is actually an emotional argument. It's not actually a rational argument. It's an emotional one, because what they want to do is create within you an emotional response to make you think about suffering, especially little children dying, and you get emotional and you feel bad about that happening. So this response is emotional, and then you think, well, and then you begin to empathize with that. Well, how can there be a God? How can God let that happen? And you begin even to yourself to think, oh, but that's your emotions. Actually, the existence of Allah, or the existence of God, God's existence, is based upon some arguments, some understanding, some reasoning. And the brother, mashallah, one of them, actually put forward that reasoning. And really this is about linking these things together in a logical, systematic process. Now, I've only ever been able to actually use this technique myself on a few occasions. But when I have actually done it, and when others who I have taught it to have used it, they've usually found out that the results of it are pretty good. And so what I do is I go through everything step by step. So I go right back to the beginning. And you could do this even with someone like a Christian who believes in God. In fact, it's important. Okay? So First of all, I talk about how do we know that there is a creator of this universe? We start with that. How could we have some knowledge? Now, even before I talk about the issue of how could we know this, I also like to lay down, and mashallah, as one of the brothers as well said, this is what we believe. You can take it or leave it. We don't want to. And that's true. Sometimes you can do that. And this is what I do, because I know the arguments people come up with. So what do? Before I even get into my discussion, I say to them, this is the premise or this is the basis of my discussion. If you don't agree with this basis, then I'm not going to bother talking to you about it. There's no point. You go your way, I go mine. Okay? And so the first thing I always do is say, listen, first we have to agree that in essence, essentially, what we experience as human beings, what we see, what we hear, what we experience, especially what we experience collectively, is real. Yes, sometimes reason lets you down. Yes, sometimes your senses deceive you. It does happen occasionally. But in general, we must agree that what we experience and what we sense collectively is real and true. Why do I say that? I'll tell you why. Because many people, what they come up with is the Cartesian doubts. There was a philosopher, one of the great modern Western philosophers, his name was René Descartes. He put forward this idea called the Cartesian doubt. It's interesting that he proved God's existence through it in his mind. But the idea was really, how do we know that this world is real? He said, how do we actually know that we are not living in a world that is a deception? Now, in his day, he gave the idea that there was a devil that created this world, or some evil being that produced this illusion that is our existence. Now, to put it in a more modern context, if anyone has seen or heard about the film The Matrix, then you could put it in that context. The idea that, what if you are not really existing here? What if this is all a computer generated image? What if you're plugged into some computer and even your experiences, your smell, everything is not real? It's just an illusion. Now, you know what I say? I say, well, if you're asking me, can I be 100% sure? Then no, I would say I am as sure as I can be. I said that there is a doubt, there is a possibility. But you know what? For me, it's not reasonable. And even if I accept that it's possible, how will it help my life? So I am only discussing on the premise that this world is real. Because I tell you why, if you don't establish that, they'll, at some stage in the argument, they'll say, yeah, but you know, how do we know it's all real in the first place? You understand? So before they can ever say that, I say, if you don't accept that, forget the discussion. So I say, this world is real, what we experience is real. Now I believe there is only, in fact, ultimately, one reasonable conclusion that any human being can come to when we observe the world and the universe in which we exist. And that is that it has a creator. How do we know that? The brothers have already hinted at it. And so what I do, and because of the time, I can't go through the details of it. But what I do is first of all show them why we should believe that there is an intelligent being that has created this universe. How can we do that? Number one, we point out the systemization and the organization of this universe. In fact, there are so many things that we can use as an example. The bees, the ants, termites, the alternation of the night and the day, the camels. If you want to find numerous examples that you could use in your dawah, for this, Harun Yahya's books are excellent. You should take one or two of the issues that he brings up and know them well and use them. And so the point being this, my brothers and sisters, is that Our universal experience as human beings is when we see something working according to patterns, according to systems, we know from our experience that someone has made them. And one of my favorite examples is to take a mobile phone. Okay, to take the mobile phone. I love using this example. Okay, because what have we got here in this mobile phone? What are the essential components of this mobile phone? It's got a leather case, yeah? But forget the leather case. Essentially, it's made of 2 important or 3 important essential components. Plastic, glass, or not even glass, there's hardly any glass. Plastic and silicon, yeah? The most important bit, in a sense, being the chip, the silicon chip, yeah? Now, does anyone happen to know where plastic comes from? Yeah, plastic comes from oil. Yeah, plastic comes from oil. And silicon is? Sand. So you know what I'm holding in my hand? Oil and sand. Now name me a place where there's lots of oil and sand. Saudi Arabia. So you know how I got this mobile phone, of course. I was walking along in Saudi Arabia and there I found it just lying on the ground. A product of millions and billions of years of chance and coincidence. The oil spewed, the sand got heated, the lightning struck, the sun shined, the camel trod, okay, the wind blew, and after millions and billions of years, here is the mobile phone, oil and sand. I pick it up. Hello, Mum. Do you believe that? Of course. Is that reasonable?
No.
Now someone could say it's possible. Now this actually happened. I actually outlined this method to some of the students in Cambridge University. And one of them, alhamdulillah, he went home that same night and he tried it on the students that he was living with. And they admitted at the end of the conversation that it was extremely unlikely that this universe was a product of some random events. But one of them said, it's still possible, and that's what I'm going on. Now, of course, that led me to think. And the brother emailed me about what would my response be to that statement? Yeah? Don't let them get away. My response to that is, really? Is that how you live the rest of your life? On some remote possible outcome? Okay, so you're a student at Cambridge University. What I suggest, therefore, is that you don't attend any lectures, you don't read any books, you don't make any studies, and after 3 years at Cambridge University, turn up for the exams because there is a remote possibility that maybe you will pass. Who lives their life according to that criterion? No one. Exactly. So you're being dishonest. You're being dishonest. So what we establish in their mind is the organization and the systemization of our universe. That points to the most rational explanation. The most reasonable explanation is that if this universe is organized and we find within it extremely complex systems, there must be an intelligence, a power that has organized it and systemized it. That conforms to our universal experience as human beings. Because did we ever find something coming from nothing? Yes, oh yeah, there was. You know when the magician pulled the rabbit out of the hat? And we all went, ooh. But you know what? We knew it was a trick. You don't find order spontaneously arising out of chaos. So the creation and its intricacy and complexity points not to chaos and chance and coincidence, but rather the power of an intelligent and powerful being. It's the first thing. Now the second step is to make them understand something about the nature of this being. And this, by the way, answers the question, who created Allah? Before they even ask it. Now, we therefore know from this that this universe must have a creator. The universe must have a creator. That's the most rational, sensible explanation. And this, by the way, brothers, is very important. Remember I said, in this society, who have got used to thinking in terms of reason, yes? This is why I believe this method is so good in this society, because it just makes so much sense. And we need to push forward the idea, emphasize the rationality of it. And also, by the way, it's a very strong counter to the idea that they already have that we're fanatics. And fanatics, by the way, don't operate on reason. Yeah? Fanatics just believe and, you know. But no, there are very good reasons for us to believe. And believe me, brothers and sisters, actually, I can see on the faces of a lot of the people who visit me in the Central Mosque, when I bring forward these very logical, rational arguments, they're really stupefied. You can see they are really stupefied. It's like they've got nothing to say. And partly because they're so shocked that something could make so much sense. And of course I also take pains to point out the irrationality of their own belief system. So, and as I did with a mobile phone, you see, when I said that, everyone laughed. Believe me, you do it in front of any audience, they'll all laugh. And when they laugh, they're, by the way, at the same time laughing at the atheist who says that this is all product of random events. They laugh at it. So, the question, the nature of God. You see, one thing that we can establish and we can understand is the nature of the Creator must be different from the creation. Because if God is the same as the creation, then God is not the Creator, God is creation. And we have this question. If God is the same as the creation, then who created that creation? And if that creation is not different, then who created that creation? So we have this question. Who created the creator? And it goes on ad infinitum. Now someone could say, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with having a creator, creating a creator, creating a creator forever? Ad infinitum is Latin for just going on infinitely. What's wrong with that? And the way I love to illustrate it is just through an example. It's sometimes the best way to do things, through an example. If I have problems lifting this table, and I ask someone to help me because I can't do it by myself. So I say, okay, I can't lift this table by myself, but I ask you to help me. You say, sure, I'll help you, but I have one condition. This brother has to help me. And he says, yeah, sure, I'll help you, but I'll make a condition. That brother has to help me. And that brother says, yeah, I'll help, but I'll make a condition. That brother has to help me. Sound familiar? Like a lot of our Islamic organizations, yeah? Okay, but the point being, back to the serious matter, yeah? If everyone makes the condition that I will not help unless someone else helps, will the table ever be lifted? No. So if you have a creator, creating a creator, creating a creator, creating a creator, ad infinitum, you have the same problem. You never get anything created. Lifted? No. So if you have a creator, creating a creator, creating a creator, creating a creator, ad infinitum, you have the same problem. You never get anything created. But here it is. The creation is right here. That's why the sensible, rational, logical explanation is the nature of the Creator is different. So as this universe is temporary and finite and needy, the Creator is self-sufficient and infinite. And a self-sufficient, infinite being has no need of a Creator. A being that was always there. Allah is the first before whom there is none, and He is the last after whom there will be none. So an infinite being and a self-sufficient being does not need a Creator. That answers the question. And then can you imagine there being more than one self-sufficient infinite being? Could you imagine two? Is it hard? Does it make sense that we could have two or three self-sufficient infinite beings? No. And this is why the proposition that there is one eternal, self-sufficient God who is wise and powerful is the most rational explanation for our organized universe in which we live. Therefore, the question of evil has nothing to do with whether God exists or not. In fact, the only thing we have to ask is, why does the Creator let these things happen? And the only way we can answer that is if the Creator tells us why. Thus the need for revelation. Yeah? Now you've established that. By the way, this also... Have you got someone else giving it? Okay. Okay, we're going to wrap up now. There is one question. And I've completely made my mind blank. Okay. A very important issue I wanted to bring up. Oh yes, what it deals with as well, by the way, is it also demolishes Christianity. It's demolished. Because if God is different in His nature from the creation, God is eternal, God is self-sufficient and infinite, then what does it mean to say that the eternal, self-sufficient, infinite God became a temporary, mortal, needy man? What, something is both eternal and temporary, self-sufficient and needy at the same time? Does that make any sense? In fact, with this same argument, you demolish Christianity and you demolish Hinduism and any other religion that says God is a man, became a man, or is a created thing. And in fact, I've used that very effectively with people, Christians, to show them, as again, why it's so irrational to believe this idea God became a man. So look what you've established through this argument, through this simple method. Now the next thing to do is to go on and explain why we can believe the Quran is from Allah. Some of the brothers gave some ideas. But you do need to learn the correct answers. It's true the Quran can't be imitated. But what does this mean? What does it mean? What is the actual challenge of the Quran? Now I know because a Christian came up, Joseph Smith, you might have, some of you may have heard, and this is exactly the question he posed to all of us. He said Shakespeare is beautiful. No one says it's from God, therefore. So what is the actual challenge of the Quran? It's not only, by the way, the Quran's beauty. There are many other issues. But one of the best things to use, as some of the brothers mentioned, in my opinion, in this time and age, is to show them some of the amazing things the Quran has said that scientists have only begun to discover in recent times. Ask them, find a contradiction in the Quran. Another thing that really amazes people, it really does amaze them, when you tell them that children of 7 years old have memorized the whole Quran. Show them, say they've memorized this book from beginning to end. Thousands of people have memorized it. The fact that we only have one Quran, you can go anywhere in the world. How many versions of the Bible there are? How many versions of the Quran are there? These things are, all of them, types of evidences that can lead a person to believe that the Quran is from Allah. Also, a very great evidence is to look at the character and the personality of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay, but these are, brothers and sisters, topics, for much further investigation and much further discussion. But at least I am not saying there is not a value to try and answer these questions individually. But do you get the logic of my method? Do you understand how it avoids all of that stuff that we can get into forever and ever? And you lay down a very logical, simple, quite easy to explain way of showing people how could we know that Islam is from Allah. For me, one of the most convincing arguments that the Quran is from Allah is that the Quran teaches that concept of God that I outlined in my rational argument. That's one of its most powerful things. Look at the concept of God in the Quran. That itself is a type of evidence that it is from Allah. And that concept, by the way, is not compromised or negated, as in the case of Christianity or other religions, by some absurdity. So my brothers, I hope, this is really, believe me, just a taster. So I hope that if in the future we organize an actual whole day Dawah seminar where we will go through this whole thing much more thoroughly. But brothers, it's been a real pleasure, and sisters, being able to talk to you. I'm sorry we didn't interact with the sisters too much, and thank you for your written responses as well. Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi.
أشهد أن لا